don't know. Tim Walz is out there talking again.
Did you say you could fight any Trump supporter?
Yeah, he says he kicked their. And they're scared of him because he could fix a truck. Like they're threatened by his masculinity. I know how to fix a truck. That's what he said. I'm like, do you? I bet you don't.
The lady doth protest too much.
I bet you don't.
I fear.
I bet if I bring a broken truck to you and a bag of tools, you're.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when he took aim at Tim Walz, painting the Minnesota governor as the definition of average leadership. He mocked everything from Walz's indecisiveness and dull speeches to what he described as a forced tough guy image in carefully staged photo ops. Instead of coming across as a confident leader, Walz looked more like a substitute teacher trying to take attendance while the classroom was falling apart. It wasn't just a comedy roast, it was Rogan's way of arguing that Walz had become politically irrelevant.
He believes a lot of wild things. One of them is transgender surgery for people who are under 13.
So for those out there who are wondering, aren't there something else you could be doing or doesn't seem to impact you in your life? This is what it means to show empathy. This is what it means to be welcoming.
He changed the Minnesota state flag to make it look like a Somali flag. You haven't seen that?
But our current flag is problematic. I think we all know that. We've evolved into a more diverse state, and I think it's more reflective.
Joe Rogan going after Tim Walz was like shining a bright spotlight on every flaw. Suddenly, every awkward moment, questionable decision, and carefully rehearsed political move stood out for everyone to see. Walz has spent years building the image of a calm, dependable leader, but Rogan took that image apart piece by piece. Behind the friendly Midwest dad persona, he argued, was a politician who came across as about as exciting as a microwave dinner.
If that Tim Walz cocksucker, if that guy got into power, like if Kamala died and Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, was our president, you know how crazy this country would be? That weirdo who puts tampons in the boys' room, and what about our joy? Like he's a complete pathological liar, like a complete liar. Lied about being in Tiananmen Square, lied about being a head coach of a football team.
If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Tim Walz often points to his background as a teacher, football coach, and military veteran, almost as if those experiences automatically shield him from criticism. But Joe Rogan wasn't convinced. He questioned the idea that teaching high school geography somehow prepares someone to lead a state through major challenges. Knowing the capital of Nebraska isn't the same as managing an economic crisis. And coaching a football team doesn't automatically give you the skills to guide millions of people through difficult times. At the end of the day, it mostly means you spent time motivating a group of teenagers to give their best.
Well, there's more than one thing, too, right? He said he was a head coach.
Yeah, he was a head coach.
He was not a head coach. He was an assistant coach, which is an honorable thing. There's nothing wrong with being an assistant coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he also inflated his actual rank, right? He was slated to achieve a certain rank.
Right.
And how did it go? Like he had to commit to the fact that he wasn't going to retire in order to achieve his rank? Is that what it was?
He didn't finish essentially the program, the coursework, for a command sergeant major.
Then there's the way Walz deals with controversy. He tends to give long, serious answers, but they often sound more like a high school principal explaining why Pizza Day got canceled than a leader addressing real issues. Rogan mocked the constant pauses, the carefully rehearsed lines, and the overly thoughtful tone that, in his view, rarely says anything meaningful. Instead of making bold moves, Walz delivers speeches that blend into the background, safe, predictable, and dull enough to make people lose interest before he's even finished.
But what does it look? Okay, but what does it look like now?
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay, on the left is Somali flag. On the right is the Minnesota state flag. Okay, same color as Somali flag, a white star, a different white star in it, like the Somali flag. Very different than the original Minnesota flag. And there's the video down below that. That's when he changes it out.
When it came to handling a crisis, Rogan argued that Walz looked like someone trying to use a phone flashlight to find their way through a dark basement. He criticized Walz's response during the 2020 unrest in Minneapolis, saying it left people on every side frustrated. In Rogan's view, the response was too slow, too hesitant, and too focused on appearing in control, while the situation kept getting worse. If leadership is about taking charge when it matters most, Rogan suggested Walz did the opposite. He even joked it was like trying to put out a house fire with a tiny spray bottle. Plenty of effort, but not much to show for it.
That's all it is, obviously.
Obviously.
There's video of Tim Walz
Yeah.
doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Exact same thing. And
Yes.
he said, of course, it's a Nazi salute. He said that.
Having them trying to debate that President Musk gave a Nazi salute. Of course he did.
This is how crazy things have gotten. Like,
It's coordinated propaganda.
Walz's attempts to come across as tough only gave Rogan more material. He pointed out how Walz often brings up his military service whenever he's under pressure, as if it settles every argument. Rogan joked that he mentions his National Guard background like someone at the gym who keeps telling everyone how much they could bench back in college. Serving is one thing, but Rogan argued that it doesn't automatically make every political decision the right one. In his view, past accomplishments can't cover for present-day mistakes. He also mocked Walz's leadership style, saying he tries so hard to keep everyone happy that he ends up satisfying no one. Rogan compared it to a comedian who's too afraid to take risks, so instead of telling bold jokes, they spend 2 hours talking about airline food.
when he changes it out. So he takes out the Minnesota state flag. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Turn the volume up, please, so you hear him say that.
All right, ready. Whoa, wait a minute.
So he gets the flag, picks it up, moves it out of the way, and replaces it. Look at this.
There, that's better.
Is it?
Why is that better?
I don't know.
Why do you care what the flag looks like, first of all? And why do you get to change the flag? How crazy is that the governor gets to change the flag? Like, who else is involved in that decision to change the flag?
Is that what happened?
Rogan argued that Walz's political style isn't built on bold ideas, it's built on playing it safe. He mocked Walz's speeches, saying they sound like they were reviewed by 5 different committees before anyone was allowed to read them. According to Rogan, Walz uses plenty of words without saying much, calling it word salad with a Midwestern accent. He may have the everyday, approachable image, but Rogan said it comes across as more ordinary than inspiring. Rogan also took aim at Walz's policies, arguing that many of his economic proposals feel like unfinished experiments. They may sound balanced and fair on paper, but in his view, the results often resemble a science project that didn't quite work out.
Get in charge one more time. I mean, they were talking about cracking down on hate speech online. Like, that free speech is not hate speech. That Tim Walz guy was actually saying that.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Hate speech. Free speech does not include hate speech. Like, what are you, by whose definition? Yours? A guy who thinks tampons should be in the boys' room?
Rogan joked, "Watching Walz lead is like watching someone try to launch a soda bottle rocket. There's plenty of excitement, but you already know it's not getting very far." He also poked fun at Walz's motivational speeches, saying they often have the opposite effect. Walz talks about unity and resilience, but Rogan argued they land with all the excitement of listening to a dentist's voicemail. Instead of feeling energized, people are left fighting to stay awake. Rogan even quipped that playing one of Walz's press conferences on an airplane could put the whole cabin to sleep. And whenever Walz tries to project authority, Rogan said it feels forced, comparing him to a substitute teacher trying to command respect before the class realizes they don't have to take him seriously.
When they decided that J.D. Vance was weird.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
And then they just weirds everywhere.
Weird. Oh, you don't want a weird guy. Meanwhile, you have Tim Walz is your
super
VP.
weird.
You don't think that guy's weird?
Super weird.
He's weird in every way.
Yeah.
The way he walks, the way he waves his hands.
Yeah, he reminds me of the clown emoji.
He's a bizarre guy.
He's a strange dude.
I just don't
Gives me the
understand why
willies,
they made
actually.
that choice.
Yeah, it gives the creeps.
I just don't understand why they made that choice. There's a lot of other people that are qualified. I don't know why. I read that Kamala Harris made that decision when she was sleep deprived, which is kind of hilarious that she said that. So she's kind of admitting
Rogan said the funniest part of Walz's public image is how hard he tries to come across as both relatable and highly capable. He wants to be seen as the everyday Midwestern guy, while also projecting the image of a strong leader. But Rogan argued that he falls short on both fronts. In his view, Walz doesn't feel relatable because ordinary people don't speak in carefully crafted talking points. And he doesn't come across as especially decisive because strong leaders don't spend so much time explaining why they acted too late. The result, Rogan joked, is a politician who's both easy to forget and frustrating to watch. Rogan also took aim at what he described as Walz's habit of avoiding accountability. According to him, whenever something goes wrong, Walz points to complicated circumstances instead of accepting responsibility. Rogan compared it to a student showing up without homework and blaming everything except themselves, the pencil, the dog, or even Mercury being in retrograde. His point was simple. Real leadership means owning mistakes, not always finding someone or something else to blame.
Because everything that we called misinformation just a few years ago, it's on the front page of the New York Times now that we were lied to.
You can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. There has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power.
The New York Times just printed a thing. Turns out we were lied to.
They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Yeah, you lied to us. Yeah. You were a part.
Then Rogan turned his attention to what he saw as Walz's love of photo ops. He joked that Walz often seems more focused on looking busy than actually getting things done. He's the kind of politician who rolls up his sleeves right before a press conference to appear hard at work, even if someone else just handed him the talking points. Rogan said Walz has mastered the art of looking productive without accomplishing much, comparing him to an office worker wandering the halls with a clipboard just to seem occupied while repeating polished lines about progress and unity. And when stacked against Trump's late-night outbursts or Biden's awkward, relatable moments, Rogan argued that Walz fades into the background, a politician who feels more like a placeholder than someone who truly grabs people's attention.
What do you think about Walz's descriptions of his military career? Because there's some issues there that people have. I don't know if he flat out ever said that he served in Afghanistan, but he certainly didn't dissuade people from saying that he was, when they were saying he didn't correct them.
Right.
There was things.
He didn't, and he didn't.
Rogan also took aim at what he saw as Walz's struggle to gain national attention. He joked that every time Walz steps onto the national stage, he seems to lose confidence. He tries to sound like a political heavyweight, but Rogan argued he comes across like an undercard fighter throwing punches that never land. He even compared it to bringing potato salad to a 5-star restaurant. It might be a hit back home, but it doesn't belong on the main menu. Walz presents himself as steady and practical, yet Rogan claimed his policies often feel unsteady, like a table with one short leg. Even Walz's expression became part of the joke. That half smile, half frown that looks like someone who just remembered they left the garage door open. Rogan wrapped it up by saying Walz could deliver bad news with the same calm tone he'd used to announce a neighborhood bake sale. In his view, that's not leadership. It's customer service with a governor's title.
Look at this.
There, that's better.
Is it? Why is that better?
I don't know.
Why do you care what the flag looks like, first of all? And why do you get to change the flag? How crazy is that the governor gets to change the flag? Like, who else is involved in that decision to change the flag?
Is that what happened?
I don't know.
Usually it's a big event. They let people pick.
Rogan also mocked what he saw as Walz's constant effort to appear balanced, arguing that avoiding tough positions isn't the same as strong leadership. Instead, he said it makes Walz look like someone permanently stuck on the fence, afraid to lean in either direction. Rogan even called him the Switzerland of American politics, neutral, predictable, and easy to overlook. But his sharpest criticism was that Walz simply isn't memorable. He doesn't inspire strong support or strong opposition. According to Rogan, he just blends into the background. He joked that most Americans couldn't pick him out of a lineup of insurance salesmen. In his view, Walz isn't the future of politics. He's the background noise people tune out while waiting for something more interesting. By the end, Rogan's argument was that Walz doesn't stand out because he refuses to take risks. He stays in the middle, careful not to offend anyone or make bold moves. But Rogan suggested that in politics, always playing it safe can become its own weakness. A leader who never takes a clear stand eventually fades from public attention. That's where he believes Walz is today, holding the title but leaving little lasting impact. Rather than attacking him with outrage, Rogan framed his criticism around what he saw as Walz's lack of a memorable political legacy. His closing message wasn't just that Walz had been roasted, but that his political story felt like a book few people would choose to read twice.